Welcome to B.A.Showoff, the Dance Lifestyle Podcast. I'm Becky.
And I'm Alexandra. And whether you're a dance coach, dance parent, or a dancer yourself, this is the show for you.
What does it take to build one of the most iconic college dance teams in the nation?
Today, we're talking to the powerhouse behind it all, Joyce Winter, the head coach of the UCF Dance Team.
Welcome, Joyce.
Thanks. That was quite an introduction.
Thanks for being with us today.
It's my pleasure.
So tell us a little bit about your dance journey and how you got to where you are now.
Well, I started out in college as a dance major and didn't end up loving it. At the time, you kind of had to choose between classical ballet and modern. And I found myself in the jazz funk, contemporary world, even back then what was lyrical. And so I switched colleges from North Carolina School of the Arts to the University of Miami. And I know you guys are big fans here in this house. And loved it, did a dance minor there, took a lot of classes, was an education major, and ended up a cheerleader on the team there in the late 80s. We won the national championship, had a blast. Didn't actually walk on my end of my college time. I had gotten my first professional job at Walt Disney World as a singer and dancer there at Kid of the Kingdom, and ended up starting my contract in May.
Wow.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah.
So you dabbled into cheerleading a little bit, and how did that help you with the dance team world?
The journey was very long, but I, from that contract there, just strictly dance, went to Tokyo Disney, married my husband and started freelancing in Japan, and then made my way back to the States. And I think my first coaching job was in California, and I was coaching a cheer team, and then that turned into assisting a dance sideline group. It was not drill team. I think at that point it was kind of starting, the UDA was coming up a little bit more in the high school scene, especially in California, and helped out there a little bit. Was doing a lot of studio work, but coaching was definitely on wherever we were living at the time. I was coaching, and we traveled all over the place. It was great. I was teaching several different studios. That was the great thing about the Navy. Moving all the time, I taught for so many studios and was able to take away the great things about each place and then file my category of, things that I would maybe not want to repeat. And just figured out who I was wherever we were and made it work. I think in Jacksonville, I had 2 babies at the time and did the NFL, the Jacksonville Jaguars. And I think that was definitely dance team-esque for me there. And I went in wanting to choreograph, but ended up, you can't do it unless you're on the team because they do a lot of in-house choreography. And so with 2 babies, my son was 9 months old, went on a crash course diet and ended up making the team and did a lot of choreography for them. But I was definitely dabbling in choreography a lot more at that point because I was a mother and coaching. And cheering was always on the back burner. I think it helped me with precision. Gymnastics was developing into the dance circuit a lot more. I think cheerleading was always a part of my journey.
And how did you end up at Winter Park?
So Jeff finished in the Navy after 26 years, so we had a few extra moves from that point. But he retired in Orlando, and my daughter grew up dancing, and she wanted to dance on a dance team. Dance team was big at that point, and they didn't have one, so we started one and developed a very successful program at Winter Park, and I'm super proud of what we created there. And during that time, there was an amazing coach at UCF, and as soon as we got to Orlando, I went and introduced myself and met Brooke and Linda, the spirit coordinator, and let them know I was here, should they need any help with choreography or consulting. So I would go in and set basketball routines for them and then help clean them. They did compete at the time, but I think they were alternating, they would do hip hop one year, jazz the next, and I would come in and help them clean, but not until she decided to retire was I really able to take the program on and make it my own.
Nice.
Yeah. And when you got the UCF dance team, what was your vision for it?
to grow it to where we are headed, the trajectory we're in right now. I love where we are. I love what we're doing. I love the culture we've created, and I like the direction we're headed in. I love the kids, and I exactly what we're doing.
So were you focused on more hip hop or more jazz when you decided to take over the team?
Both, definitely both. We dove in feet first, and I know those are the two areas that I like the best. And so if they're my fields, I feel like I could coach them the best. And so they had previously competed in game day. And being a cheerleader, I should love that, and I do. However, as a dancer organically, I wanted to compete in jazz and hip hop. So we shifted and jumped in feet first and just started to really develop each side.
And Winter Park, when you walked away from that, what did you because I know that you did Winter Park and UCF for an entire year. So walking away from that, I'm sure wasn't easy. So how did you let go of high school and then just focus on college?
So it was a gradual process, and my assistant coach, Abby Davison, recently married, she was doing Winter Park with me, and she started to plan a wedding, and it got too challenging. So she said, hey, this is my last year, but I was not ready to leave Winter Park at that time. I found two incredible assistants that I knew were a little bit interested in owning the program, and I love them so much. I think they're super gifted, Addie and Kinsey, and I knew the program was in good hands. So kind of over the next year, started to turn things over to them, and they're doing a great job with the program now. So I think I could walk away peacefully knowing that they were capable, amazing coaches that were going to take them to the next level.
Yeah, they've been doing a great job, even though we miss having you at camp in the summer. And, for those of you who don't know, we met at camp, it was 6 years ago. Yeah. And you had come down to Miami, and you were with Winter Park, and we just immediately clicked, and we got along great, and we had a great time.
Yeah, side note, I was in the lobby, and she was hearing a little bit of a hotel debacle go on, and they didn't have a room for me, and she was like, oh, she can have my room. I'll just stay with my best friend. So fully gave up her bed so that I would have a place to sleep.
Yeah, we became friends ever since.
Yes, and there was an amazing dance-off that occurred that our kids all loved. It was perfect.
It was an improv that I was not expecting.
No, you were not.
Joyce danced between my legs. I was like, "Ooh, where'd that come from?"
It was a moment.
Yeah. I think it's on video somewhere, so I'll find it and I'll send it to you.
We'll have to add that into the podcast somewhere.
Yeah. Oh, goodness. I don't think I've ever seen it.
Like a deleted scene.
My kids were very entertained. But you have this great energy and aura about you. And I think that it transferred on to your kids. And I'm sure that, they missed when you moved over. So did you get to take kids with you to UCF? Was it easy for them to transfer over to UCF? Did you clean house there? Like, how did that happen?
It's really hard when you go into a program because you have your own vision, right? And when I took it over, tryouts had already happened. So my first year there, and I feel bad for those dancers because, they didn't try out knowing I was the coach. They tried out and then found out that I was taking it. So bless them, because, I can be a lot. But, I actually just had two girls, my first 4-year vets. They were there from day one, stuck it out for 4 years. Shout out to Devin and Skylar. But, it's really hard. So you do have to go in and kind of see who is on your page and moving in the trajectory that you want your team to go in. And if they're not, you have to get kids who are. And so, I think my first tryouts, we had a lot of rookies that year. And I don't know what the exact number is, but way more rookies than vets.
Yeah.
But we had kids who knew it was my program with Abby, and they knew what we wanted and wanted the same things. So, you kind of have to start off with a clean slate and set your goals.
Yeah, not easy.
So did you actually take anyone with you?
I did. So my first recruited dancer from my high school team was Gabby Joyce, and I had the good fortune of teaching her in a studio environment. So I knew who she was, wildly talented, just great game day girl, great in hip hop, great in jazz, and we just had our tryouts, so she's a rising junior. And she was my first recruitment class along with 2 other dancers. One you might get a chance to talk to later. But yeah, so she was my first dancer from Winter Park. And just this past weekend, I brought on a second dancer from Winter Park. But it had been, several years between. It's hard. I mean, making a D1A college team is very, very difficult. Yep. And just because I know you and you're from my high school team, like, you don't get an automatic in. Like, you have to earn it.
No, and it's hard because the kids don't always understand that. Yeah. You try as a coach to be as fair as possible, but they feel like we have a relationship. Yeah. You want what's best for me, and you do, but you have to think about your team as well.
Yeah, at the end of the day, I'm trying to build something special here. Yeah. And so, you have to kind of take the emotion out of it.
It's not personal.
Right.
And sometimes not bringing them on the team is what's best for them. Because if you know they're going to struggle, or if you know that they might not fit into that culture, maybe it isn't what's best for them, and you're doing that for them. Yeah. So sometimes they need to have that little reminder. Yeah. So this year you've won your first medal for UCF. What was that like?
Oh, it was just incredible. I mean, the girls were over the moon, and I was like very, very proud, because I think as a coach, you want to set attainable goals for your kids and not just go, well, you're going to win this year, because then they're just filled with disappointment. So like my first year, the goal was make finals, and we did. The second year was, moving it up. Like, if you were 9th, let's go for 7th. Now we're 7th, let's go for 5th. We were 5th. The goal this year was to medal. And when they called forth and it wasn't our name, I was watching my dancers, and I was diagonal from them, and I could see their shoulders just start moving up and down with tears, and they were grabbing each other. And I think about that moment, I just start crying again, because it was just incredibly special. Yeah. And we were a little disappointed with jazz, and so having that was a silver lining for hip hop. So it was.
Yeah, it's tough as a coach, when you sit there and they're announcing the names, and you're not next to the kids, and you're looking at them, and you close your eyes, and you're like, please don't say my name. And they don't say it, and that growth, that completely, like, going from one team to the next. I mean, I hold my breath every year. It's such oh my God, it's a horrible but amazing,
truly amazing. And you want, like, I still want to go out there and do it for them. So you can't, and you just hope that you've trained them as properly as you have the ability to, and you have them as ready as they could possibly be, and they go out there and do their jobs.
Yeah. Well, I hope you know that everybody was watching and feeling the exact same way as you were.
I know,
it was just crazy. Holding. I mean, it was amazing. I remember sitting there. I was in the middle of a rehearsal with my girls in the middle of the night, and because I think awards were like at 11 p.m.
Yes.
We were sitting there rehearsing, and it was like, oh my God, the awards are on, and we had to stop, we had to listen, and I think we all started crying. Yeah. So it really was, I think, an emotional moment for everybody. Yeah. Watching the growth of UCF and where it started to where it is now is really incredible.
Yeah, and you've done an amazing job with them, so congratulations to you.
But it's not just a coach, like, it's finding the right group of kids and establishing a great culture for them to thrive in, and then building the kids and having them feed off each other. Like, I've got incredible hip hop dancers, but then I have incredible technicians in jazz, and they just are like, okay, I'm not as strong in this area, so I want to look like Sophia Waki, or Ella. Like, they have people, for hip hop that they turn to. And then in jazz, they're like, oh, well, Liz looks this way and Morgan looks this way, and like, we need to clean off of that person. And I'm so fortunate that I have exceptional dancers in both genres, that we can just really truly build their skills authentically in both categories.
But I think a lot of that's a reflection on the coach, because you could be coaching and just be going through the motions and being like, okay, who wants to be on the team? That's great, we just go. Yeah. But you clearly have a passion, you clearly are competitive, and you want your kids to be better, you want your kids to succeed in competition, and so they feed off of you. They feed off on what you want and what your expectations are. And
truly, I don't want to just manage dancers. I want to grow dancers. I want them to start in my program and end so much stronger than they got there. And if they do want to take it to the next level, I have given them the tools to do so. Like, we have girls who have done the NFL. We have Annalise, who was my captain for 2 years. She's a Nick City dancer. Like, that is a tough audition process. And the fact that she got there, I have a girl dancing on Ash as a professional assistant. I've got some incredibly talented dancers. But they got stronger, Juicy, stronger every year. Annalise, stronger every year. So, yeah, I think they leave with way more skills than they start.
So that's my next question is, what do you do to train your dancers so that they continue being technical and continue, improving on their dance?
Well, I love teaching technique. And we, like I said, we start every practice with a warm-up and then across the floor at the beginning of the season, and we're working skills and I'm giving corrections and we're perfecting turns, and I identify skills that I want throughout the year, whether it's acro, jumps, turns, whatever, and we start working toward it. We work turns hard because, as you know, like, if you're going to do anything in jazz, not only does the level of difficulty have to be there, but execution, timing, all of that, synchronization. So, like, when you're prepping together, you're turning together, and repetition is key with that. So we're just drilling. Yeah. But we really work their technique hard.
I know that this year you guys overcame a few obstacles. I know that we talked about it.
Yeah.
You had a dancer that was injured right before you guys left to nationals. What was that like, and what was that process of, building up your team, not letting them be discouraged, and just making them stronger than they
and I think every coach deals with adversity in one way or another right before competition. You do it at the high school level, you do it at the collegiate level. In our situation, we had 3 the month before. So when we came back in December, we had 2 injuries that just were not getting better. And then the week before. So we revised 2 dances 3 weeks before competition. And then we revised 2 dances a week before nationals. Wow. Ella, who was the center of our hip hop dance junior currently, so rising senior, thank God she has another year. She was featured, and we were doing, everybody kind of does for your men's basketball game, they'll right before you leave, they'll do it during halftime just to get it on the floor. And we did it during halftime. And if you watched our hip hop dance, we had a back handspring into a windmill, into a press, into a kip up, and it was a big thing. In the back handspring, she tore her labrum. And she's very flexible in her shoulders anyway. And, we were praying that it wasn't torn, but it was. And so she was out. And so true character shown in the face of adversity, in a sling, going up straight to whomever was taking her part, because it took like 5 dancers to fill her one role, helping them with one hand, showing them the choreo, like just the ultimate teammate. And then cheering louder than anyone on the day of, like, just a great kid. Yeah. And I'm glad that she has a senior year to come back and hit the floor in both categories. She was in jazz also, so we had to, redo that. Both dances twice,
and that's something we were talking about, team culture, and that, you train the kids that everything is about the team. It's not about individual. And then, moments like that is when you're like, I did my part. I did what I had to do. I taught these kids about teamwork, and she did it. She went through and did it.
And the young lady, Mika, who stepped up into her role for the opening, I told her, I'm like, Mika, you can't be Ella in this. You have to do Mika. And Mika is a beast. And she did. It wasn't the same, but goodness, it was just as powerful, And that's the thing. I think I've told you, like, I've got a team of unicorns, and they're all so incredible. We're not a cookie cutter team. We don't have a look, and we don't have like you have to be this style dancer to make my team. Like, I just see something in dancers, and I know I want it. And then collectively, it's just incredible.
And I think that what has really set UCF apart is the fact that you guys aren't afraid of pushing that envelope, especially choreographically.
Yeah.
And you really made your mark starting from a few years ago even, but now it's gotten you to this point.
Yeah, I think originally, like, people really didn't know who we were and what our identity was going to be. But I think now, after completing our 4th year, they know that we're going to have a crazy, wild run, and the last 30 seconds are going to be in your face, and it's going to be go, go, go. We're going to find those moments where there are textures and softness, and where you can breathe a little bit, but not much.
Yeah, you guys are like a wild card team. Like, you are the one that, you don't know what they're going to be bringing from year to year. So you can't be like, oh, this team. You've got to be like, oh, in UCF, because you don't know what they're going to bring. And that's great to have that reputation, and, to have built this such short amount of time, because it's only been, 4 or 5 years that you've been doing this.
We just finished 4.
Yeah.
So yeah. And I think that's a credit too to our choreographer. Like with Davin, doing Nikki last year and having it just blow up on TikTok, and having kids all over the place come and do like head whips, and it was big. And so I told Davin, I'm like, we need to go 180 out, because I don't want people to identify us as that. Yeah. And so I said, we need to find a male singer, make it different. And so he played a song, and I'm like, that's it, that's brilliant. And he just gets it. And then he comes in with these crazy ideas, and it's magic.
How did you find your choreographers?
Being very big in the studio world for so long, I have a lot of friends, and just through connections, I've been able to source some amazing choreographers. But yeah, friends. My mom always told me, build bridges.
Finding the right choreographer is the hardest part of running a dance team.
And it's not just about finding a good choreographer, but finding a choreographer that connects with you and the team.
Yeah, and Davin, the kids love him, and he loves them as much. And it is just a beautiful relationship. Like they light up when he calls or FaceTimes. Like, they just adore him. And he wasn't able to come last year to nationals, became this year. And so to have him there when we actually medaled, it was so special. Yeah. And then with Paris, who is phenomenal, I knew I wanted her for a couple of years. It just logistically was hard. We had to work visas. We had to work the 40-hour flight. And she doesn't like flying, and she had never done dance team. Her kind of goal choreographically was tours for artists, like big tours, which she just booked her first one last summer with Becky G. And that was awesome. And she's got an incredible career ahead of her. I mean, in the 35 plus years of working with artists and choreographers, like, she's just a mind like no other. She's so special. So we got her, we made it all work, and I knew that she was who I wanted to spend several years with. And they're so brilliant, like they're not going to run out of material, and they're not going to continue to do one thing. They're just like, there's just so much inside.
So I was going to, my next question is, do you plan on keeping the same choreographers for a couple of years, or because there's other coaches that they like to like bring in different choreographers every year or two, and they'll play around with that, or do you want to stay with them?
Right now, this is a beautiful marriage with both of our choreographers, and I think what's special is I have such a great relationship that it's so easy for me to go, hey, we're moving in a different direction. Can we go here? Can we do this? And Dan would be like, yeah, like, let me explore that. There's no barriers, there's no walls, and it's very cohesive and collaborative. And that's special when you can find those choreographers that are willing and open to allow you to be a part of the process. Because ultimately, at the end of the day, I know what I want also, and I know my kids. And so now Davin and Paris are starting to really know my kids and their skill set. And that's a great spot to be in, because you don't have to go, hey, I need that dancer over there. Figure out a magical way to get them over there, because they're the one that has that skill that you want to put in. And so I don't have to do that anymore. Yeah. They're like, hey, these girls do this, and they already know they have that skill. So it's great when they know you. Yeah. And it's great when you can be so open and honest. Like Davin, we brought him back in November because there was a section that I think we both knew wasn't right. and it needed to be tweaked. And he's like, I know. I was just kind of waiting for you to call. I'm like, okay. And then when he came back, I was like, yep. And now it's done. We're good to go. Yeah. But it takes somebody being open to go, yep, that wasn't my best, and I know I can do more. So,
because at the end of the day, it's your team. Like, you know them and you know what they're capable of, or you know when they're being pushed too much. So, being able to have that input is so important with your choreographer.
And having the collaboration is really important.
It is key.
And it I think at the same time, it also pushes the choreographer sometimes to give out their best products.
Yeah.
Even when they feel like they may have, but it just gives them that little bit of extra desire to be a little bit extra creative.
And you don't ever want to insult a choreographer by bringing them in, having them teach everything, and then they go home and then you change it all. And they're like, that's not my dance.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I respect that side of it because I've been there. So being able to do it in the moment with them is
special,
perfect.
Yeah.
And not every choreographer wants that. They want to come in and set their piece, and they want you to stay out of it. And I just that's not who we are.
And I think that it's also something that choreographers shouldn't take personal.
No, yeah.
And it's exactly what she was saying, that you know your team can and can't do.
Yeah.
Maybe it doesn't read as well as what they intended it to. Yeah. But having that communication with the choreographers and the choreographers having that communication with you is so important. And it's good to keep them in the loop. It's good to keep them in the collaboration, because then it also helps with the chemistry between them and the dancers in the long run.
Yeah, and my dancers respect each of our choreographers so much, and they look up to them, and they know that they're beasts in their genres, and they're like Google eyes, and you want that relationship for them.
Joyce, tell us a little bit about your recruitment process, because I'm sure there's dancers out there that they're interested in UCF, but they're not sure exactly how to communicate with you or what they have to do. So what's your recruitment process like?
So we just finished tryouts, and I'm so excited about Team 5, my 5th year starting. And we do a hybrid. I personally want to see dancers with my vets. I want to see just how they work when I teach them choreography on the spot, how quickly they pick it up. So I think I'll always have an in-person round, but we do the hybrid. We do video auditions at the early part of the year and make cuts through that process. Then we do an open call Friday night for anyone. If there's a studio dancer who's late to the party and just didn't know what to do, there is an avenue for them to try out at UCF. There is also, like, when we do make those hard cuts, I will write the dancers and say, here's where you fell short. If you want to work on these things, because there are a couple that were really close, but they didn't know at UCF we like to do X, Y, or Z. So I will tell them, work on these skills, and then if you want to, you can come back. Sometimes it works out, sometimes it doesn't. The skills just don't develop quickly enough. But that open call, the door is open to any dancer who has been cut and any dancer who just either they know they do better in person and they don't video well, they have the option to just show up in person. So Friday night, this past Friday, we had our open call. We moved 8 dancers through to the in-person round, and then we had invited 12 dancers to show up and audition with our vets. So less than 40 showed up, and then we placed 25 dancers.
So a dancer who is interested in UCF, what advice do you have for them?
First of all, I love it when kids actually come to UCF. I think we have an amazing culture there, and I want them to meet the team. I want to have time to talk to them. Obviously, we go to Tribe 99. I go to conventions, dance awards, ASH, streets, all of them. We show up, Revel, the panel. It's a huge one. We attend all of those. I think we're going to the UDA Combine in Nashville. We are looking for dancers. We're traveling to find them. But when you come to us, you get to see UCF. You get to see the campus. You get to see us building the lazy river that we're actually going to have at UCF. And I think finding a college where it feels like home, your academics are a part of student athlete, right? And UCF is amazing. Living in Orlando is amazing. The beach, Disney, Universal, NBA right there. It's a mecca of opportunity. if you wanted to be a dancer after college, the networking that goes on in Orlando is phenomenal. The opportunities that my kids have had going to college in Orlando, like they got to do the opening number for Disney's Very Merry Christmas Parade with Julianne Hough. I got to choreograph on Julianne Hough and my team, and that experience for them, that's a moment in time that they will always cherish, core memories there. But they've also been hired to do other gigs, and the money has gone directly into our program in an honorarium that helps us build the program, buy uniforms. We fall under athletics at UCF, so the kids are given tutors, academic advisors, athletic housing. They have mandatory study hours, which some people might think that's a bad thing, but it's been a great blessing for first-year kids on the team. They go there. They have mentors that help them, really strong students in both cheer and dance, and they take on, a rookie and guide them. So the school matters. So as a recruit or a potential recruit, go to the universities and experience the school, find out what the programs have to offer, meet the coaches, meet the teams, and don't meet the seniors. Meet the freshmen and the sophomores, the first and second years there, because those are the kids that you're going to spend time with if you do end up making that school or that team. So I think it's really important for them to actually step onto campus and come to you if they can. Right. Obviously, there are some kids that now with so much recruiting going on out of state, that they can't travel a whole lot. So for those kids, do your homework. Study the program on social media. Like emailing a coach and asking what our audition process is when we have it posted in our link in bio, it speaks to coaches that you didn't take step one. You just want me to give you the answers, but really you should have said, I see in your link in bio on Instagram that this is how you go. Do you have any advice or whatever? Like that is way more appetizing than to have somebody just email for the sake of emailing when they could resource it themselves.
Yeah. And it's so important, like you said, to like the school and to be able to visit it, because you never know, as a student athlete, you can get injured, or you're part of the spirit program, so you need to be the one that's the number one cheerleader there. So you need to love the school, not just the team, and it really is so important for them to go and visit. And I think even just being a student athlete in general at a school is so amazing.
It is incredible, like the opportunities that come their way. And honestly, I didn't know everything about UCF when I got to Orlando. I was learning it along the way, and the fact that it's a new college, only 60 years old, everything's new and everything is still growing, and the programs are getting better and stronger. They're rising the stadium up and redoing it. Like everything is just very cool. Brand new arena. So it's a great university.
It's like such a cool campus. Everything is like right there. Like you don't have
like
to
a little
leave.
city.
Yeah, it's actually beautiful.
It's a college town, but then it also has
access.
Orlando, like the big city. So
exactly.
it's such a nice balance. I remember the first time I visited Orlando and just seeing like its own little town, like its own like little shopping center and stuff. I thought that was so cool. I'm like, you don't have to go anywhere. It has a nail place right here, hair place right there, Chick-fil-A there. Like everything was, right
walking distance.
And
it's the University of Central Florida City.
It is
its own little city,
little compound.
Yeah, and it's important that the students, like you're saying, to do their research to look what programs are available at the school that I'm looking at, because. Yeah, you're going to get accepted there. But what if you want to study, to be a newscaster and they don't have
a communications?
Yeah. And so what do you do?
Yeah. And I think what's really cool, my first season there, I didn't know that they built the football stadium where the space shuttle launches right up on the 50-yard line. And they launched a spaceship right at the end of the game. And so they're playing Rocket Man by Elton John. And I'm like, this is the most amazing thing ever. And we have a program that works with NASA. And so, aerospace is big at UCF. And so we're Space U. We have like our one-off every year during football. We have blue uniforms that say, it's our space game and and everything is space related. It's very cool, but to have like a launch happen during a football game, it's
crazy.
I was like, I really picked a great place to coach.
And then you guys have the connection with Disney.
Yeah.
Yes,
So that's
yes.
another like so cool. You know,
Yeah.
I know that one time when we did the tour, how they showed how the space
No, the engineering.
yes, and how they have Space Mountain and how they helped like design like the Space Mountain.
It's the most innovative college from, I don't know what, News World and some magazine, I don't know. Delete that. U.S. News and World, I think U.S. News and World Report has us as one of the most innovative colleges in the country. And it is truly. And yeah, being so close to Disney is really full circle for me, with that being like my first equity job, and then doing Tokyo Disney, like coming back home and then being able to take my dancers to Disney and have them perform. I did that parade as a 23-year-old. So it's incredible.
That is
like
cool.
It's just amazing.
Do the students get special pricing at Disney and in Universal?
With that gig, they did get some perks that were folded in. They got to do a Disney day recently. That was all the kids went. I think actually just at the end of March, I think they went. So yeah, they said you guys can come back when you're not dancing and just enjoy the park. So it was awesome.
Cool, the parks are so much fun, and I mean, it's right down the street, but you.
Yeah, some of them have season tickets and they go on the weekends. They'll go to lunch and at Disney Springs and then spend the day at Epcot. I mean, it's fun on your day off just to go with your best friends and hang out.
Yeah. I mean, for us, we're right down the street and we're 3.5 hours away. So I can imagine for you guys, it's even easier.
Yeah.
So how cool is that?
So aside from competing at UDA, I know that you guys also do a lot of game days. What's a typical game day for you guys?
So I think a lot of colleges are similar. We do football, we do basketball, we do women's volleyball, and then we do several community events. My dancers have a goal of 10 merit points every year. And basically what that is like dance marathon. Show up and support dance marathon, you get a merit point. We had a sorority event where it was a shakedown for hip hop dancing, and the money went to children who were being abused and to help that organization. We've done United Way. They show up for Thanksgiving and collect canned goods. So they do a lot of community events, college, special events on campus, and then game day events for football, basketball, and women's volleyball. It's divided up with our cheer team, so it's not too much for any one person. And, for like the volleyball games, it's like 7 dancers on a game. So it's not too much. I think they manage their time really well.
Let me ask you, so there's young coaches that are, coming up and they're, trying to get started in this little world. You've done an amazing job in 5 years. What advice do you have for those girls or those coaches who are just starting out?
I would say know who you are and know your vision, and find a school that's going to support you. I have an incredible boss, Linda Gooch, and she has been such a support system for the cheer side, and obviously she's invested. She was a cheerleader on the team. She was inducted into the Hall of Fame as a coach for over 40 years. She started the dance team 20-some years ago, so she really wanted to see it grow, and she's very supportive of the things that I want and the goals that I have, and I think finding a university that will do that for you or be that for you is key. And then I think surrounding yourself with talent. My assistant coach is amazing, and where I fall short, she is brilliant, so I have big lofty goals and I know what I want, and sometimes navigating that path is where she's really key. She's like, calm down. I'm an instant gratification kind of person, so I want things yesterday, which is good, because I think being a Navy wife kind of encouraged that side of my personality because we would be someplace for 2 years. I didn't have time to sit around and wait for you to ask me to lunch. I'm like, let's go, you know? I think you're my new best friend. And we would just do it. And so diving into that program, being an older coach, I know who I am, but it took a lot of years of trial and error, and don't be afraid to fail. It's going to happen, and celebrate the great successes, learn from the failures. And as long as you're growing and learning, you're doing everything right, you know, because there's going to be years that are tough. And I even said that to Kinsey and Addie at Winter Park. Transition is hard. You know, when I transitioned from Brooke's team to the team that I have now, like that first year was difficult. They didn't go in knowing I was going to be their coach. You know, they went in with Brooke had run tryouts, and then I stepped in, and that I'm a lot, you know.
You're small and mighty.
I am the smallest giant you ever met.
And what about for high school coaches? What advice do you give them to help get their dancers into these amazing college programs? Because they're, you know, also trying to figure that out, and they're trying to, you know, be there for their kids, but some coaches don't know exactly what they should be doing.
Yeah, that's tough because you're so myopic, like, and focused on your team and what you're doing, that sometimes it's hard to guide, especially if you're building a high school program. But I will say nowadays you have to do your homework and due diligence to get those seniors the opportunities. And it's not just senior, you got to start so much younger. So if you're just starting with a senior, the ship has sailed. Yeah. So teach them about opportunities for recruitment. If, like, learn about them, have a meeting. You know, what are your ideas? What are your goals? I would say in today's culture, don't discourage them or encourage them one way or the other. Just expose them to the options and let them try to figure out where their journey is going to take them. I did college way back when. I didn't just jump out into the professional world. I was very young going into college at 17. And I think having a couple years under my belt before you're told no 100 times as a commercial dancer, it's kind of a good thing, you know, because you jump straight into LA. It's hard. It's very hard for a 17 or 18-year-old. And so you have to be mentally prepared as well as physically. And, you know, college dance team it's a great training avenue to make your dancer better before they head to LA, if that's what they want, or New York. We have a dancer who is a Nick City dancer. She's having an amazing career right now. She is a stronger dancer today than what she was when she stepped into UCF's program.
So tell me a little bit more about dancers that you've had and what they've done after college dance team.
So we've had Tampa Bay Bucks, like the NFL. We have NBA. We have a dancer who is currently a Nick City dancer. And I don't know if you know anything about that tryout process, but it is incredibly hard just to even get in the door. They accept 100 applicants in the door, but they have hundreds that send videos. So she got in the door, and they fell in love with her, and now she's a KCD and loving it. And I don't know, like, the world is her oyster, you know, like she's in New York, she loves New York. Who knows what she's going to do next? And then I have another dancer who is on a convention tour as a professional assistant, Juicy. She is doing the Ash tour and loving it. I've got dancers currently on my team that are aspiring to go the Heat route, and one that wants to be a Dallas Cowboy. And in my opinion, she's perfect for it. So we'll see what her future entails, but I say go for it. I have a dancer who only wants to go the commercial route, so she's going to be like heading to LA. I have a previous dancer who I think you guys might have had on your team, and this is the most wonderful thing about being a teacher, not just a coach, but a teacher. You want your kids to go into this world, and if they are wanting to be a coach or be a choreographer, you've done your job. And Giovanna Jovi is not only in LA trying to make it as a dancer, but she has also made it as a choreographer. She's with Tribe 99, her and Nathan. And I remember bringing Nathan into Winter Park, first time he had ever done a high school dance team. And he left there, and he's great, awesome work. But he left there going, I'm going to study. I am going to learn everything about this world because I want to be good at it.
And he did that.
He did that. And he also had the opportunity to work with LSU, who Sammy is phenomenal, and watching her stage a routine, like they went to school on them and good for them, right? And now they're choreographing for FSU and people are like, aren't you mad? And I'm like, no, I'm so proud.
Yeah.
And I've done my job. And that's the beauty of this world. Like, you want to cultivate kids and artists that want to take it to the next level.
Yeah.
I'm so lucky because they're amazing and they're doing it.
Yeah. And when you see your dancers that they are doing, even like I have dancers who are coaches and they're competing against me, and I'm not upset at it. You're proud because you're like, look what I helped do. Like they're doing that because of what I did for them.
Yes, exactly.
So, and if they beat you, even better, because I mean, I really did a good job if you're beating me.
I don't want that.
No,
but I'll accept it.
I accept it when it's from them. But that is really why we do this, is to train these kids to be able to do this later on.
Ricky. Like, what a phenomenal routine for Ohio State he did.
Yeah.
Like, brilliant.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you did that. Yeah. You helped cultivate him.
Yeah, and it makes you, as a coach, you're not just proud of what your kids are doing, but you're like, it's worth it. This is why I do this. This is why I get paid pennies to, and I'm 24/7, and I don't have a holiday break. And January I don't breathe, but that's why. It's because you want these kids to be successful, and when you see that they are, you're like, okay, it was worth it.
And you've done your job when they've outgrown you, when you feel like I've taught you everything I could, and you're ready to go out and spread your wings and fly. Yeah. And it's just that's the most rewarding part of it, seeing them succeed after you.
And then when they come home and they are so excited to be, like, Jovi bleeds black and gold. Like, she is a UCF grad and she loves the kids, her teammates that she was on the team with are rising seniors, and they love her, and it's family. It's family forever.
Yeah. Yeah. No matter how old you get, it is.
It is.
It's great.
So what is something that a student or students have taught you that has stuck with you in your coaching career?
To be politically correct. They make so much fun of me because I am so well-intended, but like sometimes it just doesn't come out right. You're the same.
No, yes. Oh, no, yes. I know.
It's our generation.
That's what I was going to say, because we're older. I mean,
we need to learn, but we try hard.
Oh, I believe it.
Our heart's in the right place.
Yeah, but they've also taught me social media, and I want to learn. I am not this person that, oh, you have to do it my way. No. Like, I love Abby, my assistant coach, and she'll laugh at this, but we were putting together our reel to announce our new team, and she's like, hey, I think we should let marketing at UCF, because they're phenomenal and they do such a great job with helping us with certain posts. Love marketing team, but for our reel, I thought it needed a dancer's eye, and so that was something I was like, no, I really don't want to let that go for fear of like a bent knee, or they cut it off where the foot is not on the reel. So she's like, yeah, I understand. I said, so I'll just do it. I can. It's going to take me twice as long, but I'll do it. And she paused, and she's like, in the most loving, respectful way, can I start you in a smaller project? And I laughed so hard. And she's like, oh, thank God you're laughing, But truly, social media is so important,
Yes.
And you have to learn. You have to learn. Yeah. And you can teach an old dog new tricks.
Absolutely.
And I love doing it. I'm not as fast, but yeah, I do.
Yeah, no, and it is. It's exciting when you learn something new, or you do something different. Like, you're stuck in your rut and you're doing the same thing over.
Yeah.
And something different, and okay, well, I'm going to do this now. It's always, and like when we talked about doing this podcast, it was exciting for me because I've been doing the same thing for 27 years. And it was like, okay, a podcast, all right, something different. Instead of dancing, now I'm going to be talking a lot.
Yeah.
And so it's exciting for coaches as they're older, and, for us to do something that's a little different. You're still in the same field, but it's just...
It doesn't hurt as much when you're talking.
Right. No, and I'm so proud of her. She's gotten so much better at social media too.
See? We can do it.
I know she does. She makes fun of me too. She's like, "Oh, because your stories are." What's wrong with my stories?
Hey, they're not there.
My first year going to the coaches conference, which is coming up, little plug for Terry. I sat in on Sammy's social media class and I was taking notes. Man, I was like, I gotta listen because her social media skills are fantastic.
Oh, yeah. She's
brilliant.
Yeah.
But yeah, I am definitely a student in that category.
Yeah, it comes little by little.
Yeah.
You got to let the younger generation be better at you guys at something.
Yeah. Well, I'm like, I'll take videos and they'll be like, now make it look pretty. Add all the stuff that you do.
If it makes you feel any better, I think I'm pretty much in the now. I'm 30 years old, so I'm not that old. I feel old, but I'm not that old. And even then, I still do that with my kids.
Yeah.
Like, okay, I'm done.
Yeah.
You need to do it.
Yeah. I send my kids, I go, I want you to do this.
And then when I have a post, I'll send it to the group. I'm like, I need a clever caption. You guys are so clever, so give me something.
Yeah, that's ChatGPT too. You can go
Yeah.
there. That could help you.
There you go.
So with all the years that you've been doing it, because you're like me, you've been at this
been
for a
around.
while. What do you think is your next step?
Well, I really want to stay here for a bit more. I'm not done. And I think UCF still has a lot of growth, and we have some lofty goals this year, and we're still building our team and building our legacy. And so I really just want to keep doing what I'm doing right now. In my mind, I am literally 27 and I get out and dance with the kids and then I pay for it the next day so badly. But I love to teach. I love to choreograph. I love to coach. And I'm not done doing what I'm doing. And I'm trying to stay curtain. I go to LA. I go to New York. I take class in the back corner of Broadway Dance Center and Steps. And I watch those kids just kill it. But I am also learning and trying to make sure that what I'm offering them is still challenging. And when I teach a combo, I want them to go, that was hard. So I'm not done until they say, no, coach, I'm not done.
Go sit on your walk.
Yeah.
No, and that's so important, especially when working with talent, that you want to continue. You need to always be the student. You need to always be willing to learn more.
Yes.
Be willing to open your horizons and, learn something different.
Yeah.
And be able to provide for these students that have so much talent.
Yeah.
Like I say it all the time, I don't think I would have ever made the team I'm on now, that my students are doing.
It is so hard, A, to get into a university, but B, to make these top teams. I mean, the talent, like just at our last audition, through the roof, And even at the clinic that we had, we brought in Sophia Lucia, who was amazing, like just beautiful soul. And her class was phenomenal. And the kids left feeling fed, and they came in so hungry. And it was a great environment. But the babies in the room, the 8th and 9th graders, I'm like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
And that's what we're getting in a few years.
Yeah.
And it's so exciting.
And it just keeps getting better and better. And it's crazy.
Yeah, and I don't ever want to do too much so that they burn out. I want retention on my team. I want them to love every single year, and I want them to be there for 4 years, And so that's key, making sure that they're still having fun and loving what they're doing. That's so important.
Well, you're doing an amazing job, and I'm so happy to send my kids your way.
Yeah, I need to get some more.
They love going to the clinics, and they love being a part, and they love you. They're all like Joyce. They love Joyce.
I was Mama J, another mom.
Everyone loves Joyce. There's nobody that I know that doesn't like Joyce.
No, definitely.
I hope.
And we enjoyed this year going and performing at the UCF Showcase, and that was such a great
That was
experience.
amazing.
And it was really incredible. I've watched Minnesota. I'm a huge fan of Amanda's, and like the entire state just comes and supports her, and she just had a send-off, and again the entire state was in that arena.
That was crazy.
Arena filling it, and the support that they have, like it's magical. And so I was like, that's something I really wanted for the state of Florida, to have our high schools have a place to go. We're very centrally located. It's easy to get here from North Florida and South Florida, and come and celebrate each other, where it's not a competition. competition. We're just being supportive. And it's grown so much, and I'm so grateful for both of your teams to come and support it. And then they get to see the girls and start really developing rapport and a relationship there. And it's a phenomenal event. So very proud of that.
Yeah, we look forward to doing it again.
And it's so interesting because the month of January is so packed with things for us. We're competing every weekend. And that showcase was the one weekend we weren't competing. Yeah. But it like built on their hunger. Like it just made them that much more excited to go and perform and compete. And it was exactly what they needed in the middle of that month that was just draining.
They absolutely loved it.
And for my team, it was what they needed too, because to have dancers and dance parents stand up and just freak out.
Oh, I was up there. I was like,
I mean, when they took their shirts off and started whipping it, I mean, the kids were screaming, the coaches were screaming, and they needed that validation right before going to compete, because we're one and done at the college level, you know?
Which is not easy. That's tough. That's very tough.
But it was amazing.
Well, we look forward to doing it again this year.
Yay.
So, well, Joyce, it's been so amazing having you here. And we've loved it. We just got some really fun, quick questions for you. Yeah? So, first one, what is your go-to warm-up song?
Literally, this is my new obsession. It's called Like Jenny.
Love it.
It's so good.
So of all the dances you've ever choreographed, ever done, what has been your favorite theme for a dance that you've done?
Trains, planes, and automobiles. And we started as a plane, and Julie Johnson was the choreographer, and we moved into a train, and she did all of her magical formations. And we had a little car moment. It was brilliant, and I loved it. First time Winter Park High School got in top 5 was with that routine.
Nice.
Yeah,
that's memories.
It was memories.
What's your go-to drink? Is it a coffee or an energy drink?
Oh, definitely a coffee. Triple non-fat cappuccino with 1 Splenda.
In the morning, coffee. At night, wine.
Oh, yes. A little red or some champagne.
I like how she put her head down.
Yes. Guilty as charged.
If you were not a dance coach or in this dance world, what do you think you would be doing?
I would be a chef. I love to cook. Literally love it. I love entertaining. I think the culinary world would be my definite go-to. Still creative. Also, it just brings happiness and people around you, which is what I love, and camaraderie. So, full-on chef.
Nice. Interesting. Yeah. Okay, well, next time that we have you here, I'll bring food. You cook?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
We'll bring wine, too.
Oh,
wine.
And there you go.
Find the wine, the food.
And we're done.
Well, Joyce, thank you so much for being here. I know that it's not easy. You're up in Orlando, and you were able to hang out with us for a little while, so we so appreciate it, and we look forward to UCF's continued growth, because it's just, on the up and up. I know that it's going to be even better this year, so I'm excited to see where it goes.
It is an exciting time, and the 3 amazing dancers that couldn't make it on the hip-hop floor this year, you're going to get to enjoy them next year, this coming year.
Good. There we go. And for our audience, thank you so much for joining us on this episode of B.A.Showoff.
Make sure to follow us on Instagram. And if you have any questions or feedback for us, make sure to click on the link tree and fill out our Google form.
Thank you for joining us, and thank you for hanging out with Joyce and us. Bye.
Bye.